dealing with some massive resignations, huh?
If we're gonna start the stream with that, yes, we are. The UK is dealing with more ministerial resignations than they ever have before. The previous record being 1932, when we had a national coalition to deal with the Great Depression, when half of the Liberal Party suddenly saw that it wasn't actually helping them to be a part of this coalition, and decided, nah, fuck this, and then the Liberal Party was never seen in its in that form ever again, really.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the Storytime Network's very own Paradox Hour, in which we talk about British politics. That's a joke. Please don't leave. No, we're talking.
I'd talk about a historical British politics at some point. I wouldn't be against that.
Mil's just over here rejoicing about Boris Johnson resigning. Okay.
I'm not.
Boris Johnson resigned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even at the point of rejoicing, because I'm just like, well, who the fuck's going to take over? It's either going to be one of the Tories, who are all incompetent, because all of the even vaguely competent ones have been driven out over the last 6 years, or it's going to be Keir fucking Starmer.
Who is an asshole?
Who is basically a centre-leftist.
Oh, that's almost worse.
And has explicitly said he's going to block any attempt at Scottish independence. Which, considering I'm pretty much all for Scottish independence, just as a way to get away from England, and plan to be moving up there in the next couple of months, I don't like that.
I don't think he really has a say in it, because it's a Scottish referendum and not something he has a say in.
Unfortunately, I'm fairly sure the British Parliament can block it, because the Scottish Parliament is a part of it.
That's fucked.
Or at least, I don't know the technical details, but I wouldn't bet against Starmer if he was PM being able to stop it. But that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss the book series that has taken over our lives to some extent.
We are welcome. We talk about this a lot on the series, a lot on the show, and we have welcomed a new member of our cult into the fold. I'm not even gonna
pretend it's not a cult.
Yeah, no, it's just like, yeah, welcome, Jack. One of us.
So
also, we did tell you so.
So before we
before
we get started specifically on Unsouled, I'm curious, because obviously we pestered, the three of us and Kaido to a lesser extent combined, pestered Jack into reading Cradle. I know that I started reading Cradle because I saw you and Gen talking about it, Fuzzy. How did the two of you get into Cradle?
It was free on Amazon.
For me, one of my best friends and potentially the best man at my wedding, we'll have to see about that, recommended the book series to me because one of his friends had read it. I was like, oh, you should check this out. You like fantasy.
And then, you know what's interesting? I don't think you actually read it until I did. From what I remember.
Yeah, no, that's true. I did not read it until you did.
Yeah, because you were like, oh, I got recommended this series and it's free on Amazon, so I was just like, oh, that's free books, I'll go get them, and then I read them all in the span of 2 days, the first 6 books.
I mean, as you do.
How many books were out at that point?
Yeah, 6 books.
6 books, so up through Underlord.
Yep.
Yeah, I read up till Underlord in 2 days.
Then Uncrowned came out that I think it was September, October, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I finished by the August, September.
I think it was definitely August, because I read them in August. And you had finished by that point, because I vividly remember, seeing you and Fuzzy talking about it in our books channel, and gushing about it, and as I went along, I wasn't quite as quick as Fuzzy, but I was similarly quick. I think I read the 6 books in about 3 or 4 days.
If we're talking about speed, I know who the slowest was.
Me?
Definitely, no, Kaido. 'Cause, like, you took a long time to actually start reading, but once you did start reading, you got through the entire series, like, right quick.
I got through it in like 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Kaido,
fucking
like,
quick.
Kaido read, like, one of those every 2 months.
Kaido doesn't read as much, and he was getting the physical physical.
Right,
books.
I forgot he was getting the hard.
Yeah,
like,
he does
the
physical
hard
volumes for
copies.
things, which is fair.
He works in a library.
their own.
He sort of has to stand the physical versions of books.
Something, the environment, though.
Those trees will be fine.
It's not like there's a shortage of them or anything.
It's fine. Totally fine.
Anyway, speaking of trees, let's start with Unsouled.
Oh yeah, that's a very good segue. Very, very clever. I
Yeah,
applaud
huh? It
So-
does start with a tree.
It does. It
So
all...
the thing with Unsouled is that this book was actually the biggest obstacle to me getting into the series proper.
It is
That's
This
easily
one
the
is
worst
like
book.
a lot of people's biggest obstacle to the series.
Yeah.
It's just
I think-
really hard for me to get into for up until Surreal showed up like halfway through.
Good
Even
reason. Yeah, no, basically the entirety of the first book is in classic Janja fashion. The entirety of the population treating Lyndon like crap for existing.
Yeah, I mean it's very much
specifically
the.
for having a disability. It's like
So we should, just, I guess, explain. Lyndon is our main focus character. He is the son of a soulsmith and an iron warrior.
well,
his
don't say Iron Warrior like that because that gives
We
very
should.
different.
I think we should first explain the power scale of Cradle
Yes.
first. At the very least, up through Sacred Valley, which is where pretty much the entirety of this book is set. So basically, there are different. They have the power system is based around an energy called Madra, and
Mhm.
as you
Madra and Aura, which is basically Aura is what it is out in the world. Madra is what it is when you give it the suck.
Yeah. And as you progress along this power system, you go through various stages. So, the very first
Which
stage...
transitions from metals to nobility for some reason.
Yes.
Kind of
So-
weird.
Well,
So,
the first stage is the foundation stage or the Unsouled stage, where
Oh,
it's
no,
represented by
Unsouled
wood.
is a separate thing.
Unsouled is
Right.
even below Foundation.
Yes.
Right.
Foundation
foundation
is
stage is the first
basically the point that everyone
Starts
normal
at.
in inverted commas starts at.
Mm-hmm.
But there
From-
are obviously exceptions.
Yes.
We'll get into that.
in
Well, actually, we get a very early example of an exception, but that's later.
yes.
That
So-
doesn't get explained till later, yeah.
Yes.
So in Sacred Valley, it progresses from Foundation to Copper to Iron to Jade, and then the ceiling that basically nobody in living memory has ever reached is Gold.
Mm-hmm.
Should we explain it now or afterwards, or when we get?
Well,
to
we can
Soulsmith?
do it as we go through the.
Yeah. We do see someone become a gold in the course of this book.
Yes.
That's towards the end.
Yes. So Lyndon is unsouled. He isn't even Foundation. His
He is forbidden from pursuing the sacred arts.
Yes.
And it's also. I would like to remind you, in case you've forgotten, what the reason for that is. It's to prevent him from being able to spread his disease, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So not only
kind
is he
of fucked up.
forbidden from pursuing the sacred arts, he's also going to be forbidden from having a family, perpetuating his genes.
So the other aspect of this power system is the path system. Once you reach, I think it is
I think it's iron.
once you reach Copper. No, I think it's Copper. I can't remember exactly. Once you reach a certain stage,
It's copper.
Yeah, copper. You
Okay.
start on a path
basically
which will
slurp
specialize your
up the-
abilities.
Yeah, you slurp up. So basically, how it works is human beings all start with what they call pure Madra, but what is more accurately termed as a human Madra. And that is basically, it's like water. Well, no, because there's actual water Madra. It's like a blank sheet of paper.
Yeah.
What
It's a
you
blank
do-
slate.
Yes. What you do once you hit like
Well, how you
higher
advance
tiers.
is you gain more Madra at this stage.
Yes, and once you have enough, you can advance to copper, and then once you are at copper, you begin to suck in aura from the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
And then it is that aura that colors your blank sheet of paper, so to speak.
Yes.
And then you can start on your path.
Yes. So, in Sacred Valley, there are basically 3 main paths. The important one is...
Oh, there's 7
There's 7.
3
but
clans.
When I say 3 major paths, I mean, like, those are the ones 90% of the population of Sacred Valley follow. There are 4 schools set at the boundaries that all have different paths, but
They're
they are
considered the elites.
they are the elites. They are the irons and the jades. But the basically the important path is the one that the Wei clan follow, which is the path of the White Fox, which is based around illusions.
And foxes.
And
What
foxes.
I wonder who originated that path. Maybe it was a Zachariel.
Oh, possibly.
That's a name
But that's a later.
you won't be getting context for until, what is it, Reaper?
Yep.
No,
A little bit before that.
Well, you get context for it, like, in a word of Will very early on.
But anyways, we're getting sidetracked a bit here. But yeah, Lyndon is basically at the bottom of the totem pole because he is unsouled. Because
Ray
he felt
Lyndon, by the way, not Lyndon B. Johnson. Totally
Yes.
different guy.
Yes.
That we
Oh
know
yeah,
of.
the clan name thing. So
Those with
it
big
goes
dicks.
clan name, family name, given name.
Mm-hmm.
Only
At
for
least in
Sacred Valley, though. Like,
Yeah.
Bill has gone on record and accurately as saying he's kind of like they're all over the place,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of just like, I mean, yeah, it's like
The point is Sacred Valley is cut off from the rest of the world, and it is developed differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Florida.
You know, what that means in the general sense is that relative to the rest of the world, how they function is like a bunch of hicks who
Yeah, like
have no
Florida.
real knowledge of how
I wouldn't even
how
say it's
sacred arts.
I wouldn't even say it's that close. I'd say it's a bunch of cavemen banging stones together while everyone else is, progressing up through, Iron Age and all that jazz.
See, whereas the gold rank is a myth in Sacred Valley, that's considered where sacred arts really begin outside of Sacred Valley.
Okay, so let's put it in education perspective. In Sacred Valley, Iron is a high school graduate because everyone eventually hits Iron. It's like just a matter of like persistence more than anything. And Jades are like doctorate level, and PhDs are basically mythical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In
Jade's would be Jade's college degree, undergraduate degree.
I guess I even think like considering how they treat Jades, like it's but yeah. Anyway,
It depends. It depends when you progress to Jade. Because if you progress relatively early on in your life, yeah, they're going to treat you as some kind of genius. I mean, they basically treated Lyndon's sister Kelsa as a genius for progressing to iron as soon as she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, whereas in the outside world, gold is the equivalent of a high school graduate in the less developed parts of the world.
Yeah. We won't get into the nuances of the higher ranks until we move on to the next book, but
Yeah.
suffice to say, Sacred Valley is a really, really low level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's partially it's because of how they teach sacred arts. So basically, every sacred artist is given a designation as to what kind of technique
And
they
the children,
will.
yes, because
they'll
as
do.
we all know, telling children who have no idea what they want in their lives, what they're going to do in the future, is a great idea.
So
Yes,
they,
of course.
so they basically get shunted onto one of 4 paths. Ruler,
There
Forger.
are legitimately 4 classifications of techniques.
Yes, there are. Ruler, Forger, Enforcer, Soulsmith, I think it is.
Striker,
Striker,
Forger, Soulsmiths or Forgers.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's actually not how sacred arts work, because a complete sacred art is able to use all 4 techniques.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 kinds.
Basically, the path we've seen with the least amount of techniques is has 3 techniques, one of each, except Forger, and that's only because Forger is more of a personal thing in that path.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically they're cavemen.
Mm-hmm.
And they are that way for a variety of reasons that we don't get into until book 9 or 10 of the series.
Book 9.
Yeah. So that's a thing.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
So basically, the summation of the book is a festival is coming up for up and coming young sacred artists to prove themselves. Lyndon develops a sort of cheaty technique that involves.
Oh, it's not a. Oh, okay, yeah.
They consider it a cheaty technique. Because basically,
no, I thought you were talking about the bees.
Oh, not even the bees. I'm talking about the empty
Not
palm.
the bees.
Not the bees.
So basically, Lyndon comes up, or through research, discovers a technique called the empty palm, which involves striking his opponent, pushing his own pure madra into his opponent, which
into their core specifically.
Into their core, which cuts off their ability to use their sacred arts for a limited amount of time. Which he then proceeds to use to demolish.
Beat up a bunch of children.
Demolish basically 8-year-olds.
Yes, no, they're 7 or 8 years old explicitly.
Oh yeah, Lyndon is what, 16?
15. And not to mention, he's a big 15 at this point.
Yeah, he's like just shy of 6 foot, I think.
I mean, later on in the books, he is well over 6 feet, I'm fairly sure.
Oh yeah.
Like Dresden sized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
He's a tall
looms.
He really looms. Yeah, no, Lyndon is a big boy. So basically, imagine a high school basketball player beating up a bunch of elementary schoolers.
Yeah.
And you have a good picture of
what Lyndon
going on
looked like during this festival.
But on the other hand, you have to remember all of the 6-year-olds could throw fireball.
No, they're explicitly he's competing in the foundation stage. The 6-year-olds can't do shit at that point.
It's still funny as fuck, though.
Oh, it is. But just bear in mind, they're still children.
So, unfortunately, Lyndon's journey to beat up every child in Sacred Valley is halted when.
Also, we should talk about the fact that Suriel shows up is the first character to show up in the series.
We will get to Suriel.
Probably mention her.
We will get to Suriel in like 15 seconds, Fuzzy.
Patience, my friend.
Wait,
Patience
didn't
is a
she show
virtue.
up before even Lyndon did?
She probably does, but we're focusing on Lyndon because that's what the books focus on. We will talk about the Abaddon like later,
Patience,
but
man,
they are
seriously.
very much a minor part of the first 3 books.
You know, of the first 3 books, yes.
They
I'll give you
appear
that.
like at the start and at the end, basically.
Yeah, no. Anyways,
But later.
So
back
Lyndon,
to
Lyndon's
Lyndon beating up children.
Lyndon's journey
Yes.
to beat up every child in Sacred Valley is unfortunately interrupted by the arrival of a rival clans, the Lee clans, I think.
Lee, yes.
Yeah.
Grand Patriarch, who initially started out in Sacred Valley, but had since journeyed to another
Ascended
world.
to the heavens.
Ascended to the
That's how
heavens,
they-
journeyed to another world,
Call it.
and now was called back to rule over Sacred Valley. And oh boy, does he! Unfortunately,
Yeah, hindsight-
unfortunately for Lee Markuth, that's against the heavenly rules, and that's where Suriel comes in.
Who happens to be who's just like there to get vibes and like clear her head, and just notices a piece of trash on the road
Yeah,
and goes to pick it up.
She's about as high above Markuth as Markuth is above Sacred Valley inhabitants.
yeah.
More so, honestly.
Double.
Also,
Probably.
Fuzzy, Suriel does not show up before Lyndon.
Yeah, Lyndon is the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she shows up like midway through the book.
Oh, okay, no, you were getting me confused because, like, the presence, the report.
Mm.
Report is
Yeah, no.
how the book opens.
So, basically, Markuth challenges all other sacred artists to a fight and proceeds to, begin
Butcher everyone.
butchering them. Lyndon bravely but foolishly decides to do what he can and tries to land an empty palm, which I think the analogy used is about as much use as splashing a cup of water on a wildfire.
On a boulder.
Yeah.
On a boulder, something like that, yes.
And he gets blown in half for his troubles.
He gets bisected, yes. But his bravery gains Suriel's attention. So once she's dealt with Markuth, she talks to him. She shows him the future, which involves quite a large catastrophe befalling Sacred Valley, in which he dies.
Foreshadowing.
And when Lyndon...
Is it foreshadowing if you literally show someone the future?
Yeah.
Yes.
To which Lyndon asks, what can he do to stop this? And Suriel shows him the world.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
She introduces him to a variety
Oh,
of
you
characters.
you might even say she shows him the way.
Do you know the way?
I was debating between that and I was debating between Mandalorian and Ugandan Knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, honestly, that you guys went with Ugandan Knuckles instead of the Mandalorian.
It's the
I-
more meaty one.
I don't.
That's the
I've
meteor
never.
one.
I've not watched the Mandalorian, so
Also, Suriel is a queen, so you know.
Oh yeah, Cyril is the best.
yeah. So
Love her. She's
Suriel
amazing.
Suriel shows him a variety of characters: Shah Miara, North Strider, Larian of the Eight Man Empire. But she eventually settles on telling him to find a girl at the edge of Sacred Valley called Yeren.
The Sword Sage's apprentice.
From there,
His name is
he
Tim.
again cheats his way into gaining basically an apprenticeship with one of these 4 elite schools, the Heavens of
By the
Glory
way, the way
schools.
he cheats is with bees.
Basically, what he does
Yes.
is as a
No further information is needed. Just bees.
I'm gonna give information. Information has been requested.
Guys,
You walked into that one,
Uh,
Fuzzy.
Yeah. Lyndon basically
Beginning report.
in the world of Cradle, there are when something with an advanced enough Mardra system dies, it forms a remnant, which is
We were having
Okay.
an entire philosophical discussion about
Basically-
what a remnant is exactly.
basically there is no clear answer to what exactly a remnant is. They are spiritual in nature and are generally form based on the personality and path of the person or creature or even tree they were formed from.
They're motherfucking ghosts.
Lyndon, in an attempt to stack the deck in his favor, finds a bunch of basically bee-like remnants, which he traps
They're
and
not
bribes.
bee-like. They're explicitly the remnants of magic bees.
Which he traps and bribes to help him, and buries them in a jar underneath the arena in which he'll be fighting, and then proceeds to release the bees to attack. I'm fairly sure Amon
A dude
was
who never.
Amon was like a jade at that point.
No, he was an iron.
Was he only an iron?
He was
Okay,
also,
He was only an iron. Yeah.
he was also the son of the grandson of the clan head.
he was
Yeah,
the son of
grandson of the clan head. Yes.
Yeah, he was the grandson of the patriarch of the Wei clan.
Which is hilarious.
So Lyndon, as I said, cheats his way into this basically apprenticeship as part of this elite school. Makes his way up there.
He essentially cheats on the SATs to get into college.
Yeah,
and then
basically.
also cheats his way. He cheats through the entrance of the exam of the college, because the entrance exam is you have to climb a mountain yourself
While
and
being
what he
tormented
does-
by spirits and remnants.
Yes, and what he instead does is he waits for the local delivery driver and then hitches a ride.
Yeah. Basically,
Like,
I mean, there wasn't a rule saying he couldn't do that.
no. The trend of this book is that Lyndon is so weak that he has to find loopholes.
He's the
And he
classic
abuses-
underdog protagonist who wins not through power but with wits.
Yeah, and he finds every single loophole he can possibly find.
Honor by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Will has actually
Honor!
specified. Actually, Will has specified that what he means by honor is the Chinese concept of face, which is an entirely its own sort of can of worms if you look into it. But basically, what honor means in this context is not honor; it's reputation.
Yep.
Okay,
Face is essentially what that phrase means in context is reputation by any means.
so just going back to Lyndon's height for a second, because I'm just at a point where I've noticed something. Lyndon is taller than Suriel.
Oh, that's funny.
Fuck off. I hate
Yeah.
you.
As a
Why are
15-year-old,
As a
doing this
15-year-old.
to me?
Like, it actually says, Lyndon met her gaze with resolve, drawing himself up to his full height. He was taller than she was, he realized, though it made him feel somehow wrong.
to be fair, Suriel could be 5 even. He's never particularly described as tall. We only know that Zach is small.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so mad about all of this.
But yeah,
Understandable.
another point, and I don't really want to get into it now because it involves, talking about the latest books, but I am going to try and commit this bit to memory so that we can talk about it off screen.
Just post it in the chat so there'll be a record of it.
Anyways, what was it? Shit. Anyways, so Lyndon gets into the Heaven's Glory school, dicks around for a little bit, gets bullied by a bunch of assholes.
Which is,
and then
that is the return to form for the book in particular, because the entire book so far has been Lyndon being bullied by a bunch of assholes.
And then Lyndon steals some shit and finds Yeren. And goes off to find Yeren.
He also
Who is
beats
all
up
right.
another 8-year-old in the process.
To be fair,
Oh,
this 8-year-old...
okay. That's a different sort of 8-year-old.
Yeah, but
he's
Lyndon
one
just
of
spends
those
this entire book
100-year-olds.
beating up
Fine.
8-year-olds.
Well, yes, he does beat up an 8-year-old, but it is an I swear, officer, she's a 3,000-year-old dragon sort of 8-year-old.
Yeah. So yeah. Context: the dude fucked up some sort of recovery ritual and de-aged himself to like a 10-year-old body.
While still having the internal organs of an 80-year-old, by the way. But he's in
Yeah.
constant.
He was trying to get eternal youth, is what is the point.
And he was young. He won't stay that way because he'll still fucking die. But he looks young.
No. He'll be eternally youthful, just not immortal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was going for eternal youth and
Yeah, but he was
immortality.
gunning
got
for
one of
immortal.
those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sucks to be
He was
him.
gunning for something and did not get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, sucks to be him. Anyways,
But point is
Lyndon finds Yaren and helps
So
her
the
concoct
journey
a plan to
begins.
escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just helps each other escape. Because
Also, Lyndon meets Yaren, the first girl outside of Space Mommy who he talks to, and therefore is waifu. Because, of course.
look, Space Mommy is Space Mommy, and I want to bang Space Mommy.
Look,
Who doesn't want to?
I'm pretty sure everyone in the fandom wants to bang Space Mommy.
anyway,
We've just made this weird.
yes, you have.
Yes, we did.
They didn't just
Yes.
escape Sacred Valley.
Oh, they
Yaren
fucked shit up on the way out.
Yaren had come to Sacred Valley with her master, the Sword Sage, who had been murdered by the Heaven's Glory School because they're a bunch of assholes.
Yep.
Are you starting to notice a pattern here?
Yaren wasn't willing to leave.
It's almost
without,
like everyone's an asshole.
Yaren wasn't willing to leave without. I think she had to get his sword as well as
Sword
yeah.
and also
His remnant?
his remnant.
yeah.
His
She wasn't
remnant,
willing
yeah.
to leave without his sword. And
So
then-
how you go from jade to gold is you have to eat someone's ghost. Usually someone close to you.
it's not the only way,
always,
which we will
in
we will
most
discuss that.
cases.
We will discuss that. But the general way you advance from jade to gold is you absorb somebody on the same path's remnant.
Not necessarily the same path, but the same aspects of mantra. Same path helps, of course, but some people just
And it doesn't have to be a person either. It can also be a beast of some kind.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we've already met Elder Whisper by this point, though.
Yeah, the fox. What does the fox say, by the way?
A bunch of cryptic bullshit.
Yes. Yes, he does.
We actually met Elder Whisper before we met Suriel.
You did, yeah.
But anyways, whatchamacallit? Yeah, so Lyndon and Yaren hightail it out of there, but not before Yaren bonds her master's remnant and ascends to gold, and they fuck shit up on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
Low gold.
And that, yeah, low gold.
That's not explained.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a few minutes. But that is the end of book 1, basically.
Yeah, again, it is easily the weakest book of the series because it is just so hard to get through Lyndon being so weak.
Yeah,
Just
just him
weak for
constantly
most of the
shat-
series. What's harder than Lyndon being weak is him.
Lyndon getting shat on by everybody
Yeah,
at
like
every step.
including the people who are supposed to be on his side, i.e., his entire family.
Mhm.
The only people in the entire book who are unambiguously nice to him are
It's just
Are the
Suriel,
one
though.
librarian
Jerry still
dude.
does try-
and
Oh, okay.
the one librarian dude and Suriel.
Oh, and no, the elder at the Lesser Treasure Hall was also a decent
That's what-
guy.
That's
I
who
think that's what
Jack
Jack
meant by
meant by
librarian.
Yeah, that's what Jack meant.
I thought the librarian
yeah,
at the
that-
Way Clan was a decent dude as well.
No,
and
he
First
was
Elder.
just-
First Elder wasn't too bad.
No, I'm not talking about the first elder. I'm talking about the other elder who managed.
He was a dick later.
Way Clan.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Kelsa also did her best to help him.
Yeah,
Very
Kelsey was
condescending
mostly
about it.
nice.
Yeah, Kelsa was always on Lyndon's side, but this is. We'll talk about this when we get to the end of the books, but this all kind of ties into my belief about the theming of the books.
I don't know necessarily that the theming is accurate on the family side of things, because from what I understand, Wight has a very good home life, and like, I don't think he necessarily has. But there's room for debate there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, not everyone's going to put their personal experiences in their books. Sometimes they're going to draw from outside experiences. Not everyone who writes an abusive family is going to come from an abusive family.
So can I just ask, at what point does it get actually revealed that what is considered this basically disability that needs to be bred out of the bloodline is actually just a minor moderate deficiency?
Yeah, it's
I'm pretty sure that's when Surreal meets.
Oh, it's when
Serial.
Lyndon talks to Serial for the first time.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
well, it's alluded to, but then it's explicitly stated in book 2.
Okay.
Like just the ease of, like the sheer ease of actually fixing it.
I couldn't remember exactly when that had happened, but that's the point. Lyndon is being discriminated against and treated like shit for something that isn't even that big of a deal. Because even
And
he
it's
has
not even
no
his
control over
fault.
it as well.
even in the future that Surreal initially shows him, he does eventually reach Iron.
Yeah. He
Which-
dies
yeah, which is something
shortly
he-
afterwards, but...
Yeah, which is something he was told was impossible.
Yeah. So he's basically fucked over by a handicap.
But yes, basically, Lyndon is shown the most powerful people in the world by Serial and told to reach that level within 30 years.
Which is difficult, but...
Or
You know what's interesting?
get
It's-
to
no,
a
it's-
point where he can get their help.
Yes. It's not just stated as difficult, Jack. It's stated as these people did not go from nothing to their current point within 30 years. Not even Surreal reached that point in 30 years.
I don't know about them. Well, Miara is the token lolly.
Miara is an exception.
Yes.
Miara is
there is a token lolly, by the way, in the group that is shown.
We'll get to the Shah family's deal later on.
Yeah, that's not until like book 7 or 8. Yeah, no. There is one probable exception to this, but he's an exception for a damn good reason.
The exception is exceptional
The one who proves
literally in the entire universe, not just Cradle. In the entire history of the universe, he's probably an exception. But we don't really use him as any sort of benchmark.
No, because that's unfair to literally everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, oh yeah, we don't really talk about what Surreal was doing when
now we
she
can get
stumbled
into the Abaddon stuff, yes. So basically, what Surreal was doing in Sacred Valley is, as I think Fuzzy was the one who said, clearing her mind because she was looking for Osriel, the Celestial Executioner.
Who is her best friend and also basically the god of death. He's
Interdimensional god of death.
Yeah, he's the Reaper.
Don't fear
fear
him,
the Reaper,
though.
guys.
Yeah,
Don't fear the
fear him,
Reaper.
though.
Yeah, literally every time I saw that name, that song started playing in my head.
He did used to be kind of a dick, but he got better.
Yeah. But anyways, he's gone missing, and he's been missing for quite a while now, and everyone's
Not
getting
long
concerned.
by this point.
No, I'm fairly sure it's been said.
It's been decades.
Yeah.
It's been centuries.
It's been decades by this point already?
Yeah.
At least
Decades.
that.
But yeah, he's been missing, and it's starting to cause problems at this point. And they are looking for him in earnest now because he is kind of extremely important.
It's established. Bad things happen when Death goes on a holiday. Terry Pratchett said so.
Yep.
In fact, he has an entire subseries of books that are entirely about the bad things that happen when Death goes on a holiday.
Look, Terry Pratchett is objectively correct about everything, but we don't talk about that yet. We'll talk about that if we talk about Discworld.
But yeah, Death's gone on a holiday, and it's not great for everybody else. And yes, reality in general.
So it's stated in Unsouled that the corruption spread from its inactivity will affect trillions, and if it is not curtailed, it will spread to tens of trillions.
Those are very large numbers.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. In a nutshell, not great. But yes. Anyways, she's looking around for Osriel, and she finds no leads. But she does save Lyndon's ass, so it's a net win.
Wow, I've completely forgot that we got introduced to Gadrael this early.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had him in book 2.
Yup.
Yeah, he's a dick.
Well, he takes after his dad that way.
Yeah. When do we meet Machiel, anyway?
His dad, who he may
Book
also be
3.
boning, it's unclear.
Book 3.
Sure.
Look,
Okay.
we don't
Book 3 or
judge.
4. It's either end of book 3 or start of book 4.
Look, we don't judge the Abaddon for whatever case they indulge in. But yes,
I do.
anyways. Anyways, yeah, book 1 is kind of rough to get through because, as stated, most of it's just Lyndon getting shat on and having a bad time.
Thankfully, not literally.
Yeah.
Oh, we
That would
should
be a
Surprised
different
if
kind
that
of
doesn't
book.
happen at some point in the series.
we should also point out that before leaving, Cyril gave Lyndon a marble.
Not a toy marble, like an actual celestial power marble.
Mhm.
Doesn't do anything.
It doesn't
except,
do anything, but it does always end up back in his possession, even if he's naked.
Yes, and
grip side.
and before they leave the Heaven's Glory School, Lyndon loots it for everything he can carry, which includes let's see if I
a
can
little
remember.
river seed.
Yes,
And
a Sylvan
a
River
Sylvan
Seed,
River
which is basically just a little baby spirit,
Mhm.
which I'm sure
And
won't
it's
be
very
relevant
cute.
in the future.
It's so cute.
And a
It's not
10,000.
cute yet. At this point, it's like kind of just a blob.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Yeah.
yes, it's cute.
and a
It's-
10,000 mile cloud, which is basically
On Wukong,
Yeah.
the Son Goku, sort of. You know what a flying cloud looks like.
yeah, it's a flying
Yes.
cloud.
But yes, anyways,
But yeah,
that's the end of book 1, and
Yes, now we get to book 2, which is completely unrelated to Osriel the Reaper.
yeah, book 2 introduces us to a whole host of characters from outside Sacred Valley.
Yeah, I don't think
We
Osriel
have
does
some
get
idea of what's going on. Though, as we learn later, even these guys are kind of like, if the Sacred Valley is the Stone Age, these guys are like Bronze Age at best, in a world where people have flying cars and the internet.
Yeah, most of these people are
Okay, so-
stuck in the old
So
realm.
this introduces us to the actual power scale. So we said
Yes.
Sacred Valley was Foundation, Copper, Iron, Jade, and in incredibly rare instances, Gold. Outside of Sacred Valley, as we said, they consider the Sacred Arts not to start until you reach Gold. Gold is split up into 3 stages: Low Gold, High Gold, True Gold. Then you
Which,
reach...
funnily enough, which is something that the author regrets explicitly.
Why is that?
Because it's too much division. Like it's
What was that?
needlessly because he thinks it's needlessly complicated, I believe.
Then you get to the Lord Realm, which again, split up into 3 stages:
That one
Underlord,
makes more sense.
Overlord, Archlord. And then
But
you
we
get
don't
to...
get the names of the other two.
We
until
don't get the
later.
names of them, but, I think at this point we need to properly discuss these books, we need
Yes.
to, reveal the
And then
power
you
scaling.
got like.
Then you
Herald,
have the
Sages, and
reality
Monarchs.
breakers. Because you have...
Well,
Are you telling me that
Yeah.
Herald can't reality break?
no, I'm saying heralds are reality breakers. Sages more give orders.
The reality warpers.
Yes.
Well, yeah, heralds break reality. Sages tell reality to break, and it does.
So yes.
Very
So
different
so
sort of
above...
connotation.
So once you reach Archlord, there are 2 paths for you. You can become a herald, or you can become a sage. And once you
And
reach
if you
Monarch...
do both,
If you do both, you reach Monarch. Those are the people that Cyril showed Lyndon. Northstrider, Sharmiara are both
The
monarchs.
8-Man Empire
Larian,
kind of weird even by
Larian is part of is an eighth of a monarch.
Yeah, the 8-Man Empire is a weird thing. So
It's
basically,
weird enough that even
and
on Cradle, they're not really sure how it works.
Yeah.
yeah. So the
I'm
thing
pretty
with
sure even the 8-Man Empire isn't exactly
fuzzy,
sure how
fuzzy,
it works.
fuzzy.
Yeah.
So basically, the thing with the 8-Man Empire is that it basically does show that the powers of a sage and a herald are not additive but multiplicative, because it takes 8 total sages and heralds to equal 1 monarch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4 of each.
Yeah.
Larian is a sage.
Anyways. Yeah.
But that's the power ceiling we're working at here. Lyndon, at this point, I think, is at the start of
He's a
Soulsmith,
copper.
reaches copper.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
He reaches
Yeren
copper.
is low gold. There are people around him that are. I think the max is high gold. Is there anyone who's
Yeah.
actually
No,
true
there are
gold?
true golds.
There are a
There's one
handful of
gold
true
in the
golds.
series.
Okay, there are a handful of true golds. And
Yeah.
We
once,
also meet Best Granny.
but once they reach the closest town, which is actually a series of camps that have sprung up around a labyrinth that has appeared, they learn that an underlord is on the way.
Again, they're not really that big a deal in the more developed parts of the world, but like out here, it's
Out here in the boonies,
basically
they are really broken.
yes.
It's basically, the equivalent of a musketeer showing up to fight, Bronze/Iron Age warriors.
Well, it's like a guy in full plate showing up in the Bronze Age, because like a musketeer still gets fricked up at close range.
To give a better example, it's like Spider-Man showing up to fight the Punisher.
Yeah, that's a better example.
Yeah, he's nowhere near the biggest fish in the pond, but he can still fuck up the Punisher because he is strong as fuck and he's against a baseline human.
Oh, we haven't actually talked about what Yeren's path is, because outside of Sacred Valley, there is a lot more variety in terms of paths.
Oh yeah, Path of the Endless Sword. One of my favorite paths, honestly.
It is a pretty cool path. So
It's like she has. So Will has outright admitted it in a recent word of Will. Do you know what Yeren is? For those of you who do not, who are aware of the Zhangja genre, which is a mouthful at all times, she is a stereotypical Zhangja protagonist, is what her character is, and Will has like outright admitted it at this point.
Yep, that's correct.
Prodigy
Her
with
lovable
a
little
special
loot goblin
mentor.
is very non-standard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is very much what Lyndon is.
He's our lovable little Luke Goblin.
Yeah. So Yeren's Path of the Endless Sword. So she can forge a ghostly sword in midair. She
Shoots sword beams, makes her sword swordier.
Yeah, her enforcer technique is all about making her sword sharper. Her striker technique is basically slashing a line of sword madra at somebody, and then her ruler technique, anything that's got sword aspect madra will ring
or around it.
In or around it will ring like a bell and cause cuts.
Also, do you know what's funny? Apparently, White's editors have had to tell him to stop using ring like a bell to describe any sort of damage, because he's gotten, like... It's like how in Mistborn, Sanderson would use the word adroit once every 2 paragraphs.
Yes, I remember that.
And yeah, I'm fairly sure...
Remember the Maladroit saga?
I'm fairly sure...
I don't want
to. Yes, he managed to fit ring or rung or rings like a bell 4 times in Dreadgod.
Yep. Granted, I'm pretty sure most of those were just Yeren, but still, apparently he used it in a sci-fi context describing plasma bolts, somehow.
So in
So,
Dreadgod,
you know.
two of them were Yeren, one was Linden, one was Little Blue, which is the name of the Sylvan River Seed.
Aw,
Was their actual human child.
Isn't she adorable? I love her.
is precious.
At one point, she gets a knife.
Oh no, she has a knife. Anyways,
Anyway, so yes, we meet a collection of characters at
Including everyone's favorite.
the Five Factions Alliance. Yes, everyone's favorite, Jai-Long.
no. Long is actually the primary antagonist of this book.
Especially in the recent context, that's even funnier.
Yeah.
Anyways, no. The three most prominent ones that we that are important for future stuff are Jai-Long, Gesha, and one Ethan Aurelius.
Oh, Ethan.
We
Love
still call
Ethan.
him Ethan because that's the simpler one to say. It actually is pronounced Ethan. I just will always call him Ethan because it's just funnier to me. There's just like
Yeah,
these,
but you take joy in mispronouncing names like Marcone.
At least I'm not Viz.
I was gonna say, but you don't call Zoro Zolo like you should.
Can we just please move on so we can
Yes.
actually talk
Okay.
about stuff?
So yes, so we
Make-
meet Ethan, who
Was
is
a blonde, long-haired Bishi.
who has a bloodline power, the ability to how is
Be
it?
a sneaky little perv.
I think it's sense. I think it's just sensing Madra.
No.
Or
He's
is it-
explicitly the five senses.
5 senses, basically improves his every sense using webs of Madra.
Which he can spread over, like, an entire city.
And basically,
Yep.
what gains Ethan's attention is Serial's marble because he can't sense that.
Yeah,
Also,
he feels like a hole in his
He also
senses.
sees a he also
also
sees a
sees a 15-year-old
16-year-old
Yeah,
with
he sees a
and
15,
he's
16-year-old
like,
copper. and
Ooh,
it's like-
mine.
sees a 15, 16-year-old copper and goes, I can
Dibs.
work with this.
Yeah, he basically
I
just
can
calls dibs
fuck
on
with this.
Not to mention,
Yeah, he kind of does.
at what point I'm fairly sure he does find out fairly quick that Yeren is the Sword Sage's apprentice, which is a big thing because sages don't usually take apprentices.
Yeah,
so as
Yeah.
we later learn, that is actually for a very good reason.
Mm.
Also, it's patently false.
well, it's not that they don't take apprentices; it's that they don't often take direct apprentices.
Because I'm pretty sure we see like several sages in the series.
Okay,
later
no,
on
no.
who all
I
have-
tell a lie. It's that the Sword Sage didn't take apprentices.
Yeah, well,
okay,
that-
right.
that
Because he
seems
was
more
like
accurate.
hundreds of years old.
It's that particular Sword Sage did not take apprentices, so it was a big thing that he gained attention. That Yeren gained his attention.
Yeah, like anyone who knew Tim would know that he was not the type of person to take an apprentice.
Tim's not his actual name, by the way. It's just the
It is
nickname.
actually.
His full
His
name
name
is
came later.
Tamias. His full name is Tamias.
It is his
Adama.
name.
So yes, his name. You cannot say Tim isn't his name because it is.
There are some who call him Tim.
Age of the Endless Sword. Tim.
Yes.
So yes. So
Anyways,
So Lyndon and Yaren arrive at this series of camps that have set up base around this labyrinth that suddenly
It's a
appeared.
little shanty town.
Yeah,
You know, it's a lot easier to build a shanty town when like the 9-year-olds can pick up boulders.
yeah.
specifically, Lyndon does note that
Yeah.
a girl of the age of 12 lifts up a boulder.
Which is hilarious. Just seeing how like completely and utterly out of his depth he is compared to everyone else on the outside.
But yes, all of these groups are trying to force their way into this labyrinth to gain the treasure inside. Specifically, the Jai clan are looking for an artifact that one of their ancestors left, which was a spear that can absorb the Madra of the person it kills.
Which ends up being so much more important than anyone would ever think it would. Did any of y'all think in episode 12 that their spear was going to mean something more than just a plot device or a MacGuffin?
No. Did not expect it to be that important, but
Because the spear basically ends up as the driving force of the series.
Not the driving force, but a driving force.
One of the most necessary forces of the series, in hindsight.
But yes, Yeren and Lyndon eventually attach themselves to the Fishers. Lyndon specifically attaches himself to Fisher Gesher, who is
His best granny.
Who is an old
No,
Soulsmith.
she's second. She.
No, Emrys is more tree mom than granny.
No, she's a grandma.
Guys,
Moving
come
aside
on.
from future discussions, yes, Fisher Gesher, ancient Soulsmith, walks around on spider legs.
Crab legs.
They're not attached to her, by
Which
the
is
way.
rad.
She just, like, uses them for effect.
Yeah. Right up until the point where Lyndon unfortunately cannot control his loot goblin urges and tries to rob the Jai and Sand Viper clans.
Well,
It is
specifically
one of the
the
stupidest
Sand
things
Vipers.
he does in the series, and it's like...
The Sand Vipers are effectively a vassal group of the Jai clan.
Yeah. As a result, he and Yaren are taken as basically slaves to be used up. And
Well, not basically explicitly, they call them slaves and everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
to
explicitly slave labor.
create scales, which are the currency of the world, and maybe be eaten by dread beasts.
Which are an entirely different sort of thing, by the way.
Basically, these
You've got your...
they're corrupted beasts that don't leave remnants, if I recall correctly.
Yes, they don't, because they're already, like so damaged, but later we learn there's a reason for that, but, like, as of now, what we know is that they're so, like, horribly corrupted by eldritch forces that they literally can't leave remnants.
Mm-hmm. Luckily for them, however, Ethan, again having piqued his curiosity, got himself taken prisoner and joined them. And very quickly,
Oh god, something just occurred to me. There's a very interesting parallel with that sequence and a later scene in the most recent book. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh my.
and very quickly proceeds to make a jailbreak, and thus begins the process of leveling Lyndon up.
Yep. He puts Lyndon through training from hell.
Yes. So he begins to level Lyndon up by throwing him while he has a broken leg and no supplies except for a small magical water bottle into a room full of dread beasts and telling him to survive on his own for 2 weeks.
That's not true. He has supplies. He has his backpack. And I think he has a spear. And that's
No, the spear is the ripped off limb
goblin.
Right. Yeah, anyways,
So
after about 2 weeks, Lyndon is really fucked up.
Mm-hmm. So we should also point out that so during the foundation stages, so from copper up through jade, you get various buffs. At copper, your eyes improve and you gain the ability to see aura, I believe.
Yes, you get copper sight and then iron body.
Iron body and then jade sense.
Yes.
Jade sense, yeah.
So iron body.
Basically, it involves using your Madra to create a. So you start with a core, and which is like your heart, and or your brain, and then
Oh,
you
I
use.
think we forgot to mention that Lyndon has 2 cores because he split it.
Oh
his
yeah,
core
we
first book.
fucking
that's
forgot
one of
about the
other
twin
most important
cores.
parts of the series that we completely forgot about.
Yeah. We're at book 11. We sort of take that for granted.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, oh yeah, Lyndon. You know what's funny?
So does
Even
every other character.
not just every other character, Lyndon takes it for granted because in book 11 he makes mentions of someone's cores, and the guy's like,
But I only have one.
yeah,
Slip of the
and
tongue.
then he's like, oh right, I forget that sometimes.
Maybe Lyndon should just split his core again so
Oh,
he can
God.
have more cores and give them to other people.
That was a great blooper. In the later books,
yeah.
in the later books, you start to get bloopers, which are hilarious.
And we
Yeah.
now have bloopers for the first 3.
We will be gaining bloopers for the first 3, yes, because of the Kickstarter.
Oh, that's great. I'm gonna have to see those.
Yeah. So yes,
It will be retroactively added to the 3 already out on Amazon, so that's good.
So yes.
I don't know about Audible.
So so when he was still with the Wei clan, he found a technique called the Path of Twin Stars, which involves splitting your core.
Stars, actually, it wasn't a technique. It was just one. It wasn't a path. It was just one technique.
It was one technique, and it wasn't even really a technique. It was just a cycling technique. It wasn't even like.
But we learned later that it's something called a spirit enforcer technique.
Yes. So basically, what it would allow him to do is split his cores. Now, usually, that's pointless, because basically, you just end up with 2 undersized cores and nothing to do with them.
And you usually end up having to work twice as hard if you try and go for 2 paths.
And basically never get as far on those 2 paths. Lennon, I think, was forced to use it because Elder, Elder whatever his face was.
Palm and the evil 10-year-old was like, hey, you like empty palming people, so I'll shove my palm into your core. And he's like, well, if I split my core, I'll live.
Because the Elder targeted the space right between his 2 cores, if I remember correctly.
Well, he targeted his core, and when you split your cores, they're a bit off-center, both of them, on either side.
So yes, he basically just went in the middle of the 2 cores. It was like, that wasn't supposed to happen. But yes,
he was he didn't really have time for that to occur to him until Lyndon literally yeeted him off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
That is literally what he does.
Yeah.
He's a 10-year-old, so while he is very powerful, he doesn't have a lot of physical mass, and Lyndon is like 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lyndon just straight up tosses him off the cliff.
Lyndon is a big boy, yeets him off the cliff. So yes, this is
to be present.
Yeah, so this is another thing that gains Ethan's attention.
He's a 15-year-old, 6-foot-tall copper with 2 cores.
Yeah.
And a magic marble.
I would be shocked if that didn't gain attention, frankly.
Yep.
So, and Ethan goes through the process of giving Lyndon an iron body, one that he's specifically chosen for Lyndon, the Bloodforged iron body, which coincidentally...
It's also known as the Sand Viper iron body, by the way.
It's the same iron body that the Sand Viper clan uses, which involves being bitten by Sand Vipers and drinking their blood.
Apparently the venom burns the motor into your body. Yeah.
So
you
normally for children when they get this iron body.
Sand Vipers.
Normally, children.
Go ahead, again.
Normal children, the Sand Vipers. What happens is they get given a drop of Sand Viper venom to get the iron body.
Mm-hmm.
Lyndon gets bit by snakes for 3 days.
I think he gets like 4 or 5 doses of like the full package of venom.
So,
and
then 5 venom glands and 4 snakes worth of blood, I believe.
Yep. So he gets ridiculously roided up.
It gives him
because Ethan decided to go overboard. Yeah. Yeah, Ethan decided to go overboard, so Lyndon gets ridiculously roided up.
That's Ethan's whole deal.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, we later learn in Blackflame.
It is.
There's one of my favorite things in Blackflame is definitely something I'm gonna talk about with respect to this. But yeah, his entire thing is that he's like, well, why do things halfway when you can instead do them 4 times what they were meant to be?
But yes, so I've found the passage in particular. So yes, the Sand Viper child that we see that's seen as very promising takes like a drop or 2 of venom and a little bit of blood. Lyndon takes 5 Sand Vipers bites, and then all of the blood in them. 5 of them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It basically damn near kills him.
Saying is,
Ethan does not do things by half measures.
so what you're saying is, Beefy Teen takes 5 whole snakes.
God damn it.
What?
God damn it, Fuzzy. Why are
That
you
happened at some point.
But yes, the point is that Lyndon surpassed even Ethan's standards.
Yeah, he honestly thought he was gonna give up at like 2 snakes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went double or nothing.
So yes, so
No,
but
actually,
we should point out at this point, the 3 of them are inside the labyrinth while they're doing this, and they make their way up through the labyrinth, find the chamber with
let's
the.
be honest, Ethan is very much a David Bowie type.
He is,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, but they make their way up through the labyrinth, find the central chamber where all the treasure is just in time for Zhai Long and Sand Viper Crawl to burst in and challenge them to a fight.
Destroy the place.
Yep.
Because
Shit.
at that point, the Zhai clan, Sand Vipers, and Fishers had all started to work together because they wanted to get their haul before the Underlord arrived.
Unfortunately for them,
We'll get to that. So Kral and Zhai Long fight Linen and Yaren respectively. Kral, who is
Lyndon's iron at this point now.
Linen is an
because of
iron,
iron
but
bite.
Kral is what was he? Low gold, high gold,
High gold.
high gold. Linen kills him.
To be fair,
Crawl was going to kill him.
no, to be fair, he doesn't kill him outright. What he does is, we should explain this. How soulsmithing works, right, is when people die, bindings form in their remnants, which are the techniques they used when they were alive.
People die when they are killed.
Well, not
Yeah.
always, depending on the person. We have examples of that later. And what he finds is the binding that was used to make the magic spear that drains people.
Mm-hmm.
And then he stabs that into Krawl's shoulder while his back is turned, which drains him and then
drains him
blows up.
dry to the point where he doesn't even leave a remnant.
Mm-hmm. And then Lyndon shanks him and kills him.
Yeah.
No, he's
already dead.
He's already dead by that point.
So, which obviously angers Zhai Long because he was Kral's friend. Unfortunately for
He
Zhai
was
Long,
like a brother to him.
yeah. Fortunately for Zhai Long, that is when it is revealed that Ethan is Ethan Aurelius, Underlord of the Aurelius family, and
It's kind of awkward, huh?
can easily stomp Zhai Long without even a thought.
He can honestly stop every single person in that room simultaneously
Mm-hmm.
and still have plenty in the tank afterwards.
Yep. But Ethan is nothing but fair, so agrees that Zhai Long can face Lyndon in a duel
In a year.
in a year. He also lets Zhai Long take the spear.
It wouldn't be fair otherwise.
Yeah,
True.
Yes, it would not at all be fair for a someone to fight someone several years younger and weaker.
Several stages lower.
Yeah, several stages lower. Unless he had a year to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as everyone agrees, is definitely enough time. Definitely
Totally.
not suicidal at all.
Oh no, definitely not.
Correct,
I'd
yeah.
just be suicidal.
So,
But yeah,
Ethan basically takes both Yaren and Linden into the Aurelius family and starts the process for training him, which will take us to Blackflame. But we should, discuss the finer points of Soulsmith first.
yeah. So, what do you want to talk about first with regard to that?
I mean, just Ethan in general. He is just so funny.
He's great.
He's
also-
Ethan,
so
honestly,
funny.
is where the series in general picks up for me.
Yeah.
Like his
He's
introduction.
like the best part of the books. Also, as Wight has later gone on record saying, he's someone with like dark and troubled past. He's like the trickster mentor with the dark and troubled past. And it's as much his story as it is Linden's.
Well, Will has actually said that
Yes, he said it.
Cradle starts with Ethan. He's the first character
Oh, yes,
created
it was
for
the-
Cradle.
He was made for Cradle, but even beyond that, even the series proper is kind of just like it's kind of, it was intended to be Linden's story, but kind of became their shared story halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, part of that's just because of Ethan's irresistible charisma.
Is really hot. That's
Not
what
even
you
that,
meant,
it's just
right?
his sheer force of personality, too.
I mean, it helps by that point that we'll obviously go into more detail on this, but anyone who has reached Underlord has basically perfected their body.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he has. Look, you all thirst over Ethan. I'm just the only one brave enough to win.
But yes, Ethan
I'm not
is
saying anything.
utterly hilarious. Fisher Gesher has her moments as well. In
He
her
is hilarious, and we will quote everything he says.
Yes. In Fisher Gesher's introduction, she says, "If I want the words of a silly girl, I will reach back 100 years and ask myself." To which Linden actually queries if she can do that.
I mean,
Oh,
to be fair, okay, can we just talk about the fact that Lyndon's perspective is extremely skewed?
Yes.
in a number of
he
ways.
has no solid frame of reference for any of this
Yeah,
shit.
because he has met the weakest people on the planet, of which he himself is one. And he's also met Suriel, who is, by the way, a member of the Court of Seven. Well, they should really be called the Court of Eight now that they have Osriel. Well, they had Osriel. But as we established, she is a judge.
I mean, they're playing by Organization 13 rules.
Yeah. She's
basically one of the 8 most powerful beings in the organized universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's literally out of tens
Multiverse.
of trillions of... Yes, known universe. Out of tens of trillions of people, she is in the top 10.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's like the Court of Seven, Osriel, and maybe like 2 other dudes who are individually that powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's kind of got a skewed perspective, is what I'm trying to say.
And the point is, he has not been, subtle about his desire to reach the level of Northstrider, Sharmiara, Larian of the 8-Man Empire. So you've got
He
this.
doesn't even say he just says the 8-Man Empire straight up.
Yeah. So you've got this, overaged copper from ass backward nowhere going, "I want to be a monarch."
And the response is
What's a
usually
monarch?
the response is usually either absolute incredulity or "sure you can, kid," in the most condescending way possible.
Except Ethan, who's just like, "I can work with this."
He's like, no, Ethan's like, are you sure you want to aim that low?
He doesn't do that quite that yet. He is just like, "Well, if you want to go there, I can help you."
Well, actually, more he just starts cackling madly. He does do that a lot.
He does love cackling, yes.
Yes, he does.
He does love his cackling. But unless there's anything else for Soulsmith, Soulsmith is not a bad book. It's definitely, I think, a lot better than Unsouled.
Oh, absolutely.
It still
And it
still
does have its
suffers.
strong points,
Yeah,
particularly the introduction of
Athan, yeah.
Athan, and to a lesser extent, Gesha and
Yeah.
Jailong.
It still suffers from Linden being too subservient, I guess is a good word for it.
That's more of a
But that's-
series long character.
That's
arc sort of deal.
an ongoing problem for a while. I don't think it's quite as much of a problem in later books, but certainly for the first, I would say 4 or 5 books.
I'd say the first 4 books.
Yeah.
He's very grovelly.
Yes. Which is, it's learned behavior because it's what the inhabitants of Sacred Valley would do for anyone at a higher stage than them, and everyone is at a higher stage than Linden.
Literally, yes.
Frankly,
No. The 9-year-olds are not at a higher.
okay,
stage.
yes,
They're his peers.
the literal, toddlers are not as weak as Linden, or are weaker than Linden. But otherwise, yes, pretty much everyone else is stronger than him.
Anyone and everyone of consequence, basically.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But yes, it surprises me that when Linden stabbed Cradle, he didn't go apologies.
He wasn't. No, that's later. He hasn't reached that point of his character arc yet.
He just start attacking people and going apologies for this.
Yes, he later realizes it, looks back, and then decides to lean into it in the snarkiest way possible, and I love it.
Yeah, Linden is wonderful. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else we've missed in Soulsmith, but I don't think we have. We could talk about Abaddon stuff that happens in Soulsmith. But
yeah.
I forget what Abaddon stuff happens in Soulsmith. It kind of jumbles together for me.
So I think it's what is it? It's Harrow. It's Harrow.
It's the reveal that it's the limit reveal.
So it's So Suriel basically cleanses Harrow, which is another world in another universe which has fallen to chaos, which is the opposing force to the Abaddon.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. And then she stumbles upon a message, and
I don't think that's until Blackflame.
Oh, you're right. That's Blackflame.
Yes, I don't think that's until Blackflame.
You're right.
Because I basically am.
Yeah.
I've got the books up on the Kindle app on PC, and I'm just searching Suriel.
Yeah, that's clever. But yeah. Yeah, not a lot of Soulsmith is probably the second weakest book in the series, if only because it's before the series really truly gets going. Up until Ethan doesn't get introduced until about halfway through the book, and it takes a while for the book to get going, even after after he makes his first appearance.
We should also point out that at this stage, and for the next few books, they're relatively short.
Yeah.
They get progressively longer.
They do get progressively longer, to the point where the most recent one was a single word longer than the one before it.
Yeah, that was a great decision. I loved that.
That is hilarious.
But But yeah, they're not that long, and so there's only so much that can really be fit into them. And we should point out that at this point, these books have covered a period of, I mean, Unsouled covered a period of what? I mean, the first part leading up until the festival was 2-3 months, I think.
Something like that.
And then from the festival until they left Sacred Valley was like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, time really accelerates at some of these parts.
And then from in Soulsmith, it is, again, it's no more than a month. And most of that is Linden being trapped in the labyrinth, being forced to fight off dread beasts.
Yeah,
he
like
does do that a lot.
Mhm.
So not a lot of time has passed. And Linden is already at Iron. The boy who was considered so defective that he wasn't even allowed to practice sacred arts and probably breed has now reached Iron in his first 2-3 weeks out in the wide world. Just to show how fucking stupid Sacred Valley is and how backwards it is.
Yep. And it only gets more insane from here.
So I think that's as good a point as any to move on to Blackflame.
Blackflame. Honestly, I think this is where the series really starts to get good.
This is where the series picks up.
Everyone agrees on that, yes.
Yeah. This is generally in the top 5 books for a lot of people.
I wouldn't go that far, but that's a personal preference thing.
I think before the most recent one, it probably was. A lot of people like Blackflame. For good reason.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? I wonder, because, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, the fandom kind of goes rabid over training arcs.
Mm.
And this is the first training arc in the series.
Yeah. Basically, like, a good half of the book is basically Linden and Urine training in the Blackflame trials.
Because this is where Linden gains his one of his paths.
Yep.
Notice we say one of. Yes, the thing that he was told was very stupid earlier on is definitely what he's going to go with.
Mm-hmm. I think Ethan said it.
Yep.
I think Ethan said it would be a waste to make both of his cores one path.
Yep.
That's
And
because Ethan is a visionary.
And it turns out having one pure core is a blessing, especially when he gains his path and the other core.
The titular Blackflame path, or Path of the Blackflame.
So, Ethan basically presents Linden with several options for what he can take for his path to duel what's going on.
Yes, but he does present give some very well-founded arguments for why he should just pick the one that Linden decided, or that he decided.
He does. And also, one of the paths he offers is the path of the royal family of the Blackflame Empire. And
explicitly
Linden
illegal to practice that path.
Yeah, Linden's like, this is probably illegal and could get me charged for treason. No,
Ethan outright says it's illegal.
Yeah, no, Ethan, he doesn't think of that at all. Ethan is the one who says, oh yeah, it is technically illegal to practice this path, but, like,
I'm sure it'll go fine for you.
Yep.
Potato.
But yeah, basically Ethan, has all these paths for Linden to choose, but, gives incredibly detailed reasons why he shouldn't pick them right up until he reaches Blackflame. At which point, he doesn't mention the downsides of picking that path.
I think Linden has to pry the downsides out of him or something.
Yeah. Well, he mentions some of them. He doesn't mention the societal impact of him picking that path.
AKA
yes,
getting
he just
arrested.
mentions the physical impact of potential horrible doom.
Because as it turns out, the path of the Blackflame is very infamous in the Blackflame Empire, and is quite feared. And as a result, people don't take him
come into
practicing
play
it well.
until later, though. So
But yes, we won't go too much into that past that.
Oh, we also get one of my favorite exchanges in the series, in which Ethan's distant cousin, who he calls his brother, who is essentially a strayed out of a Greco-Roman statue, like blonde, curly haired, like it's very very
Cassius.
handsome.
Cassius.
Yes.
Little Cassius.
He's a good
And
boy.
He's like we had the Ethan train our clan's coppers once, which we should note in this series, those are the like 10-year-olds are the coppers.
Mm-hmm.
One girl ran into the wilderness, and we found her up a tree 6 weeks later. And Ethan's response to that is one of my greatest regrets. I really should have pushed them a bit harder. And it's just gives me life.
Ethan is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
He's
the
also
way,
insane.
so by this point, we should point out, Lyndon isn't true gold at this, not low gold at this point, is he?
No, he
No.
hasn't even hit Jade.
Nope.
Yeah. When does he hit Jade?
Hits Jade once he makes the bond with Orthos.
Blackflame.
Is it okay?
It's bonding Orthos that puts him at Jade.
Right.
Orthos pulls him to Jade.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then actually even into low gold later on.
So
Yeah, he gets the low gold later in the book.
the way in which Ethan gives or starts Lyndon on the path of Blackflame and intends to level him up by that way is not the regular way, which is having him cycle Blackflame aura,
Which
But
is
by-
the slow way.
which is the slow way, but by having him bond with a sacred beast, who also follows the path of the Blackflame, the last descendant of the legendary Blackflame dragons, Orthos, who is a turtle. A big, giant, flaming turtle, but a turtle nonetheless.
Turtle.
Unfortunately,
Turtle.
one of the physical side effects of the path of Black Flame is that it burns out your Madra channels and slowly drives you insane.
Yep. You know, details.
Unfortunately,
That's
that
the
is
downside?
unfortunately that is the stage Orthos is at the moment, and Ethan is hoping that bonding with Lyndon will give some of Orthos's sanity back. Sanity, that's the word I was looking for. Which it does.
I will say, this is not the book I expected to tastefully deal with Dementia Turtle. Adopted Dementia Turtle.
Yes. Orthos does gain some lucidity, but it is not consistent.
Yeah. Not for a while.
So Lyndon is now on the path of Blackflame and has now got to start preparing for the duel, but he's got to learn the techniques of the path of Blackflame. Luckily for Lyndon, they're in the ancient home of the Black Flames, which has a training course, which will teach him every technique that they used.
Sounds easy peasy.
Funny
every
that
common
it's almost like someone planned this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the strike technique, which is
Like-
just Dragon's Breath. The Enforcer technique, which is named the Burning Cloak. And the
Sorry,
Ruler technique.
It's called the Fiercely Burning Fierce Outer Robe.
Yes. And the Ruler technique. What was
Is
the
that
ruler
really what it's called?
Yes.
That's what it's translated as, and they basically go,
The Void Dragon's Dance.
Void Dragon's Dance is the Ruler technique. Yes, that's what it is. But yes, Will takes a refreshingly realistic take on translation of, if you try and translate it literally, it'll mean jackal until you actually, adapt it.
Yep.
There is a reason it's called the ancient language.
Mm-hmm. So yes, Lennon has to go through this course with Yaren's help, to be fair, and figure out how to use all of these techniques. It should be pointed out that when the Black Flames used this, it was a team of 6 going through.
Yep.
Whereas,
And all were gold.
which, by the way, yes, all gold at minimum.
Gold at minimum, yes. Going through this.
And which is, by the way, something he neglects to tell our babies.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for them, while they're doing this, Jai Long is going on a drinking rampage through the Jai clan. Because he's got that sucking spear.
Oh yeah, this is where I meet Jai Long.
He's thirsty.
Jai Chen and Jai
Daisho.
the Jai clan patron.
Jai Courtney?
Jai Jackass. I mean Jai Daisho. He's an
No
asshole.
one's gonna.
Jai Jackson?
So
no
yes.
one's gonna acknowledge the Jai Courtney joke.
Nope.
Nope.
So Jai Long is
Nope.
is preparing for the duel basically by going through what was it? The low golds, the high golds,
And the high gold.
and then the true golds of the Jai clan, killing them and basically eating their Madra to add to his
Killing and
own.
eating their souls. Yes.
Unfortunately for him, Jai Daisho eventually shows up, and who is an underlord, we
Forces
should
him
point
into
out,
line.
and basically bounces him into line. Now, luckily for Jai Long,
Oh yeah.
Jai Daisho has an extreme hatred of Ethan and the Aurelius clan.
Yep. Oh, also,
to be fair,
Kral's-
you either love him or
Kral's
you
dad
hate him.
also was
Yeah.
tagging along on Jai
Yes.
Long's revenge rampage
Yes.
because he is understandably pissed that Lyndon murders his son.
You know, he was asking for it.
True.
What was his name?
Was it Gokran? That's it.
Gokran. That was it. Gokran. Sand Viper Gokran. But yes, fortunately for Jai Long and Gokran, Daisho fucking despises Ethan and is planning to attack the Aurelius clan, which he does so.
Specifically planning to stage a coup.
Planning to stage a coup, yes. And attacks, sending Jai Long and Gokran after Yeren and Lyndon, while Daisho and a bunch of True Golds take on Ethan. Gonna be honest,
Unfortunately for
it doesn't go well for them. It doesn't go well. So the Blackflame Empire has a ranking system for each of the stages. Ethan is ranked as the 11th strongest Underlord, which I believe is the least strongest Underlord.
something like
I'm
that.
fairly sure he is
Yes,
11
they
out of
had
11.
prior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Daisho, who was expecting that with this and with help he would be able to beat Ethan, Ethan has been holding back significantly.
Yeah, Ethan has been pulling that classic thing of, oh yeah, I was never actually using my full power for that shit.
His entire deal is, why should I try
when
I can just choose not to?
Yeah. And so Ethan.
To be fair, excellent strategy.
Oh, it was.
Yep.
Because Ethan proceeds to curb
Worked out
stomp
for
him and every True Gold he got Daisho brought with
With
him.
a broom.
With a broom.
And a pair of scissors.
And a pair of scissors. Yes, because that's the point. The Aurelius clan's responsibilities in the city they reside are maintenance staff, janitors. And Ethan is the greatest janitor of them all.
Descended from the mighty sage of brooms himself.
Yes,
I mean, he is great at taking out the trash.
he
And
is.
the greatest janitor in all of history.
Look, he takes out the trash with the best
Legitimately, Ethan is related to the broom sage.
Yep.
So yeah, so while Ethan is curb stomping, and while Cassius is curb stomping, because while Cassius is only high gold or true gold?
High gold.
High gold. He is the number one ranked
gold.
high gold.
He's number
No,
two.
he's
His wife is
number
Number
two.
two,
His
sorry.
wife is number one.
Number two, and his wife
Yeah.
is number one, and he proceeds to curb stomp every high gold that comes after him. and his family.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Yaren and Lyndon have
It's like
Oh, by the way, we also have to note some very, very funny moment in which my man's totally cockblocks Yaren and Lyndon.
I was gonna get onto the funny moments because there are a lot of because there's a lot more Ethan. There's a lot more funny moments in this book. But basically, what happened? Basically, Yaren's story during this book is that to advance to High Gold, she has to basically absorb more of her master's remnant.
He has to eat her master's soul. Yes,
which she is very reluctant to do because she believes that will be basically killing what's left of him.
Yep.
Unfortunately, she doesn't get that choice. She's confronted by Jai Long, who, by this point, I'm fairly sure is True Gold.
He's True Gold.
he is a true gold, but he lets her power up because
He lets her power up. They get in a fight, and I believe advancing basically refills your core.
yes,
Sorta, yeah.
So Jai Long...
and she comes up to High Gold.
She advances up to High Gold. Jai Long is tired from the previous fight. And I'm fairly... I don't think he gets sent running by Yaren, but I think he senses everything else is happening and goes, fuck this shit, I'm out.
more or less.
More or less. Well, also, like, Yaren was pushing him really hard when she hit High Gold.
Yes. Because it turns out, she's a fucking sage's apprentice. Even at High Gold, they're fucking hard to beat.
Yeah, she's an absolute beast, even a stage below
We
someone like
learn
Jai Long.
later on that even by the standards of the most powerful factions and clans in the universe, she's or in the world, not the universe. She's still like basically would be considered a prodigy anywhere in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Gokran is going after Lyndon, which is bad. Because Gokran is High Gold?
For Gokran.
Gokran's
Yes.
True Gold.
Gokran is
Gokran's
True
True
Gold.
Gold.
He's a,
My
yes,
bad.
he's a true gold, but guess what? So is our favorite turtley grandpa.
Orthos
Yeah,
turns up.
Orthos is effectively True Gold as well.
Unfortunately, he is...
Not effectively, he's just outright true.
Yeah, he is not lucid at this point, but he's still fucking...
I mean, a crazy half-dragon turtle that's a true gold and wields explicitly one of the most destructive paths in the world.
So we
Not
we
gonna
should,
be fun for you.
Yeah,
either way.
we should point out that various paths will have various combinations of Madra.
Mm-hmm.
The Blackflame path is explicitly Fire Madra and Destruction Madra.
So yeah, it fucks
It
you up
doesn't
real
just
strong.
burn you, it destroys you. So while Gokran is contending with Crazy Orthos, Lyndon finally masters the ruler technique and hits him with the Void Dragon's Dance, which fucking murders him.
Literally blows him into pieces.
Yeah, fucking murders him.
And then Orthos eats the rest of him.
Yep, Orthos eats pretty much everything you can find, which is hilarious. Because just in a random scene, he will just start crunching
He does eat rocks.
crunching on rocks or furniture.
Honestly, I do kind of feel bad for Gokran here.
Yeah,
Just because he gets hurt so badly,
Okay, but
even if he
yeah,
has a
he did lose his
sympathetic
only
motive.
son, but at the same time, not only did his son attack with the intent to kill someone several stages lower than him, which is a big no-no in Cradle society.
yeah.
He did the exact same thing later on, so it's like,
Yeah. Oh, no, still a dick move. It's just he had vastly more sympathetic motives than Daisho.
Yeah, but yes. So they see off the Jai clan attack, which is all well and good. Ethan kills kills Jai Daisho, the Jai under. Wait, what's that? I'm here. Oh, he's not actually dead. Jai Daisho survived
Yeah, it's the whole "I live, bitch" type thing.
because he basically
He
had
had
a
an extra
countermeasure,
life.
which
Literally, he
which
had
brought
one
him back
up.
to life after Ethan had killed him. Which freaks Ethan out.
he
Yeah,
actually
because he didn't
says,
see it coming.
no, he actually explicitly says, wow, that's the first time that's happened in literally ever.
Mm-hmm. But at the end of the book, we meet two other important, Well, we meet one important members of one important faction, and then we meet one important person. The important faction are the Skysworn, who are basically the police of the Blackflame Empire. And we also meet Naru
favorite
Huan.
people.
We also meet Naru Huan, the Emperor of the Blackflame Empire, who is friends with Ethan.
Yes.
But also takes joy in learning something before Ethan does, because you should.
Yes. I mean, understandable, honestly.
Yeah. But yes, this book is, again, because of Ethan, and to a lesser extent because of Orthos, is hilarious.
Yes, it is.
My favorite line is when Yaren first joins Lyndon at the training ground. He asks, not to ask too much of you, but if you happen to see a giant flaming turtle wandering around out here, please don't attack it. And Yaren is just completely confused, because you would be.
Yeah, it makes sense in context, but without context,
Without context,
not so much.
Yeah, it just completely.
That's kind of Lyndon's whole bag is comedy outside of context.
Yeah, but yes, as Fuzzy was saying, at one point Ethan cockblocks them, cockblocks Lyndon and Yaren while they're having a heart-to-heart moment by dropping in from the sky while screaming.
Yep.
No, it's even better than that, because the reason he fell is because he was kicked off an airship by Cassius.
Yep.
For forcing Lyndon and Yaren into this by his approximation. and Ethan just says he slipped.
Yeah, also just like Ethan, the part where we said Ethan was guiding Lyndon to the Black Flame path, we weren't hyperbolizing. He was basically like doing his damnedest to get Lyndon onto that path.
Basically,
where Lyndon just
basically what he does is he's got what is called a technique library from the Aurelius family. And he shows Lyndon all these various paths, going, okay, so here's this path, and Lyndon goes, ooh, this is cool. But there's also this and this and this. It's not great. Okay, what's the next one? There's this path, which is really cool. But there's this and this and this. And Lyndon eventually just goes, what path do you want me to take so we can stop this?
Though, as Will has stated outright in a recent word of Will, if Lyndon had insisted on any one of those other paths, Will would have been like, okay.
Ethan would have been like, okay.
Yes.
I mean, Will probably would have been okay as well, but at that point his characters would be forcing him
he
into
initially
stuff.
wanted to have Lyndon on the path of the Broken Star, which is apparently lightsabers and laser beams.
Yeah. He's been planning the sci-fi series for a while, I feel.
Yeah.
But yes, as I said before, Ethan doesn't really go into the societal implications of picking the path of Black Flame, which comes back to bite Lyndon when the Skysworn investigates Serpent's Grave, and he gets arrested for practicing the path.
Yep.
It's not technically illegal, but it is quite bad.
Yep. It is considered what they call a no-no.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, this is when Gen's favorite group gets introduced, the cops.
They are exactly what you'd expect from cops.
Yep.
That resignation voice, Gen.
Yep. I know my brand.
I'm not giving you shit over it. I'm just saying. Yeah, no, the Skysworn are...
oh, I know. I just... Mm-hmm.
So the Skysworn get more focused in Book 4, which is called Skysworn.
Literally called Skysworn, yeah.
We won't get into that.
We won't be getting into that, because that's the first book of the... if I just look up the name. Path of Gold, yes. Path of Gold.
Oh, yeah, there's a couple more plot points from Blackflame that we didn't cover.
Well, yeah,
Lyndon ascending to low gold,
yes.
and... and him healing Jai Long's sister, who had been spiritually crippled.
Yes. He didn't do it. Little Blue did it.
Ah, yes, Little Blue.
Oh, by the way, Lyndon feeds her, or Ethan feeds her now
Yeah.
with Soulfire, which sounds important, but we don't know what it is yet, and that makes her grow up into, well, it makes her turn into a toddler up from a blob.
Yep.
Also, is for some mysterious, inexplicable reason that we have no idea what it could be, scared of Yeren.
Hmm.
I wonder. I wonder what that could
Yeah.
be. Oh, she also has. Have we talked about how Yeren also has a really nice belt?
I think
it's this red belt.
we don't need to necessarily go into detail at this point, but it has been stated that Yeren has an unwanted guest. And it is very much implied to be attached to her belt, which is tied in the style of, I'm not really sure what they're called, but like it's
If you've read or watched anything of the martial arts genre, you'll know what we're talking about.
it's like, you know, it's like a belt with where at the back it's tied in like a bow.
Yeah.
It's not an obi, but I know that's what you're going for.
Actually,
Are
you
you
know
talking-
what?
Are you talking about the Japanese ones?
Well, give me a second, because what I can do actually is I can show the viewers at home what
wonderful.
what Lyndon, Yeren, Ethan, and Orthos canonically look like, because we now have sketches from
Canonically, with a caveat in that there is a variety of official artwork, and it's
these are the official
there's a
artworks
number
we've
of
been
different art
given.
styles.
These are the
Yeah,
official
and,
artworks we've
this
been
is-
given.
I believe this is from very early in the series.
Yes.
This is from the first 3 books, which is why I brought it up.
Hmm.
So you talk amongst yourselves for a couple of minutes while I add these.
Yeah, again, you've been a bit quiet for a while. Do you have anything to add on the opening trilogy? The Foundation trilogy, as it's called in the collection.
Yeah, I mean, the Foundation trilogy is interesting because, like, you start to see this through line of, like, in each of the books, like, the first 3 books are all about, like, dysfunctional family units.
Please elaborate.
Like, book 1 is... So book 1 is the dysfunctional family unit of the Wei family, the Shi family, the Wei and Shi family, and how they harm Lyndon, and like the ways in which those dysfunctional family units cause harm. Book 2 is you get like dysfunctionality with the reveal, like with hints from Jai Long, right? Like the way he was tossed out because of his gold sign. Like he was abandoned because of it, like by his family, and had to go into a found family situation. And book 2 is like found families are also not perfect, as we're also getting Lyndon forming his own found family.
Mm-hmm.
And then book 3 is families interacting with each other can cause problems, and the systems that come from families interacting. And specifically, dysfunctional families.
Now, I can definitely see where you're going with this, and it does definitely have the whole. Though this is common in the shonen space anyway, and this is basically a shonen manga in book form. It does have a strong emphasis on the found family aspect as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that
Right, and so like my point is my point is that the books seem and feel like they are not necessarily focused on like my issue, like how do I describe this? Like the books, and this only becomes more apparent later on, is it's broken systems. And I think that was always kind of a key point for Will, like from the jump, because he starts including the Osriel bits. Because it becomes clear, like in each books, that like even the larger meta plot is the result of a broken system, and the ways in which stagnation and this is just tradition cause harm and pain to those coming up.
Mm.
And I think that is, and we see that at every stage. And like Unsouled starts at the most granular level of that, and then each book kind of begins slowly bringing that wider and wider focus until book 12, which is when we start hitting the wider multiverse.
Well, book 12 hasn't come out yet, so.
Right, but that's kind of the going path, I think.
By the way, do we have a title for book 12?
Waybound.
Yes, Waybound.
Yes, but I'm not telling.
Interesting.
We're not telling you.
We just
You
did.
literally just told me.
I mean, the book title isn't a spoiler. It's not like Reaper is inherently a spoiler, because it could mean any one number of things. And also, he's kind of been like, he spoiled it, like, himself at the beginning of the series, really.
But yes, so I've got the pictures of our currently 4 main characters. So here is Lyndon as of Unsouled. Look at him with his little backpack.
He looks so young.
He does.
He's a good little boy.
He's 15! He's a child!
Remember, at this point,
He is a child.
Lyndon
He's
is
a good little boy.
Lyndon is an evil sect leader's rebellious son wearing his mother's robe.
He does, in fact, get his mother's robe, by which I mean Ethan's.
Ethan keeps giving him robes that Lyndon keeps destroying.
Not necessarily
yeah.
on purpose,
Yeah, it's not his fault.
that we know of.
Here are Yaren and Ethan.
I don't think I like this art style as much because it makes Ethan seem less hot than he is.
I mean, we don't really get a great look at Ethan in this shot.
Yeah, you only get a profile view.
But yes, you can.
Don't look at Aaron, though.
You can see in
Yeah,
you
I
can
can
see in the
see the
shot.
belt
You can see
style
the
thing.
belt. That's what we're talking about. And that belt stays attached no matter what Yaren is wearing.
Indeed.
Like I'm fairly sure she wears it in the bath.
Something like that.
And finally, our best turtle
Oh yeah,
boy.
there was a bath scene
Yeah.
in Soulsmith.
It's very brief.
Our best turtle boy, Orthos.
Or
Turtle.
Or do tell.
So, now that we are on to Blackflame, we can actually talk about what Serial found while investigating Harrow and then Limit.
Yes. She found a message from Osriel that was pretty garbled, and also she found a body splattered against the wall.
Mm-hmm. Well, the
You found blood spattered against the wall.
yes, she found evidence that stated somebody had been viciously splattered against a wall. She also learned that he had started to he had prepared for his absence, and had quarantined the world's most at risk of chaos while he was gone. The 16 worlds that will be corrupted while he's gone. But that's not all, because She then... Where is it? She then starts investigating people who could possibly have killed Osriel, and comes upon a Vroshir, who are the main opponents to the Abaddon, called the Mad King.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
so
believe
we
she
also
mentioned
get...
there are only
Ooh,
4.
spooky.
There are only 4 people
Well,
who
there's
are mentioned to be
2
able to match
individuals.
Osriel.
2 individuals and explicitly
No, it's
and
4.
no. Oh, right, the angler. I forget the angler.
Well, two of the Abaddon and 2 of the Vroshir.
Yes. So
No.
The Mad King, the Angler, who is more dangerous because of the weapons she holds, and then two of the Abaddon, the 2 of the judges, Raziel the Wolf and Markiel the Hound.
And none of them could take him in a straight up one-on-one fight, so much as if they caught him off guard. And
They also mention the Horseman and the Mad King?
Nope.
They mentioned the Mad King. I don't think they mentioned the horse. Oh,
I'm pretty sure this is where
yes,
the Horseman
they do.
was
They do
introduced.
mention the Horseman. Yes.
Yeah, because what the Horseman does is he goes around stealing magic systems from different worlds to make like busted combinations.
Yeah.
He's basically the min-maxer of the Vroshir.
Mm-hmm.
He's the net decker.
Suriel also looks into what Lyndon's been up to and is like, wait, holy shit, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was not supposed to do so well.
It's basically because of the Aurelius family and because of Aethan.
We don't learn why they're so relevant until much later.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I believe it's actually at the end of Skysworn that we learn a bit about why.
Mm-hmm. But yes,
that is
basically
talk for another video.
But yes, basically what happens is she tries to read his fate, but it's her presence, which is basically her helper, her information guide, basically goes, this won't be accurate unless
an AI.
Yes, an AI.
Yeah.
Basically goes, this won't be accurate unless you actually go to Cradle.
Yeah, it goes error 404, fate not found.
Which is really fucking big for somebody of Lyndon's stature to cause that. And then
so some shit happened along the way.
Perhaps some shenanigans are occurring.
And then it ends with her being informed that Markiel the Hound has requested her presence.
Not ominous at all.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Should we go into the roles of the Abaddon that we know
That
of?
was a word of will that had come out by this point, so I
Yes.
think we can.
So we'll only cover the ones we've actually interacted with so far. So that's Gadriel, Suriel, Markiel, and Raziel.
We've not seen
We've not interacted with them, but we know of them. We haven't been introduced to the other 3. Osriel is sort of a different entity, but we can talk about him as well. We can talk about him as well.
We do know what he's about.
Yes, we know what he's about. So Suriel is the Phoenix. She repairs worlds.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
But she also, when needed to, can, cut away corruption. And, if need be, cut the world away from the way, which is sort of difficult to describe.
She's basically the doctor of the group.
Yes,
she
is the healer. She is the healer. Gadriel is the Titan. He is the shield of the worlds. He forms barriers, basically.
Mm-hmm. And that's really all he's.
And that's all the current Gadriel is capable of doing. He's apparently incredibly good at that, but there have been past Gadriels, because rather than Suriel or Gadriel being names, they're the names of positions.
Yeah, they're titles.
So Suriel's name was not actually Suriel before she became the Phoenix.
The only person whose name we don't know anyone's name, and we don't learn the name of one of these.
We learn
ludicrously powerful individuals.
Osriel's name. We learn Osriel's
Yes.
original name.
And that's not until book 10.
Yes.
Yes.
But so Gadriel the Titan, he's a shield. He creates barriers. That's pretty much all he can do. Apparently, past Gadriels were capable of offensive barriers, but this Gadriel is not.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bit incompetent. He's also basically the adopted son of explicitly
Machiel.
the adopted son of
Machiel.
Machiel.
Yes. We'll get onto him last. Raziel the Wolf. Basically, if Gadriel is the shield, Raziel is the sword of the Abaddon.
Mm-hmm.
She is the attacker, and she is basically the executioner of Class 1 threats, all that jazz. And Machiel, the Hound, the judge of fate.
Mm-hmm.
He reads fate.
Yeah, he reads it. He doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with it. He does read it.
He reads it, and where necessary,
He can also manipulate it.
Yes, where necessary, he will manipulate
He
it.
can't manipulate it directly. He can alter events.
Yes. Osriel, I think we may have actually said hi, Biscuit.
Yes, hello.
Osriel is the Reaper.
Osriel is the Reaper. He destroys worlds that have fallen too far into chaos to be saved.
Mm-hmm.
In doing so, he kills millions and millions of people at a time.
Which, for some reason, weighs on him emotionally.
Yeah, he doesn't take it well. He doesn't take it well, and that it is suspected that is the reason he has left.
Not only does he not take it well, but the others basically tell him to suck it up.
Mm.
Which is
Well, that's more
Yeah,
of a
like I said, Fuzzy.
development.
But as I said, there are three other judges. We won't go into their roles, but they are Durandal Ghost, Zachariel the Fox, and Talariel the Spider.
Spiders.
They're all very interesting people who we will not get to meet until we cover
Much
the very
later.
last
Who
trilogy.
do not appear in this book.
Who do not appear until book 10.
Yep.
So, if you want to find out about them, either look up the Word of Will, just search Word of Will Wight, that'll probably send you to the website where it's all collated, or, stick around for our future Cradle podcasts.
Yeah, that too.
Admittedly, the one where we cover 10, 11, and 12 probably won't be for a while because we have to wait until book 12, wait for book 12 to come out. But
honestly, we might have to
Which is in a
split
few
up
months.
the last two trilogies a bit more than we do the first two.
we might, a lot happens from about book 7 onwards. They start to get a lot longer.
So much happens.
We can probably do 8 and 9 all at once, but 10 is gonna need its own.
I would say
10
no.
and 11 probably we can fit into one.
No, I think what we should do.
We'll talk about this off stream.
I think it's fairly simple. 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12.
Sounds good to me. I think that was what I was going to suggest.
Because those pairs are connected more than they would be otherwise.
Yeah.
I can accept that.
So that's probably what we'll do, unless we decide otherwise in the future, which is possible, but we'll see. I think we've covered just about everything. As I said, these books are so... It's got a really interesting power system. I love the power system. I love Madra.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I do think you probably have a better impression of the power system, or rather, you actually not a better impression. You probably have a worse impression of the power system than I think you should, because you don't understand what Janja is like. It's a system that is so much better than most other genre, and I'm so happy for that.
That's good to know.
Yes, the power system is interesting. The characters are compelling. I love Lyndon. I love Yaren. I love Ethan. I've
Yeah.
you know
Our
I
main
love
trio is really good.
I love the characters I'm supposed to love. I don't like the characters I'm supposed to not like, but in a way that I still appreciate that they are written well. I don't dislike them because they're badly written characters. I dislike them because I'm supposed to.
You're the characters that are
Jedi Show is a fantastic written hate sync, for instance.
Yes, he's a very good hate sync. And yeah, the humor is just so on point, especially once Ethan appears.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Ethan says to the Emperor of the Blackflame Empire about Jedi Show. He initiated an open attack against me in Serpent's Grave, and I was forced to take out the broom. I've never heard that expression. I assume you mean an actual broom.
Yes, to Juan's credit, he's like, yeah, knowing you, it is a literal broom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, we should note, the broom in question is not any sort of special magical broom.
It's
He
just
just
a broom.
loads it with so much raw
It's just a
power,
broom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it can break.
So I think we can reveal this. Ethan's I'm not going to reveal Ethan's path, which we do get later on. But Ethan's strategy, especially at this point in the books, is pretty much just pour as much power into it as possible and just murder them.
Every jade cycling technique, right, focuses on a specific aspect.
Yes.
Or a few specific aspects. What his does is he focuses on Madra capacity to the exception of everything.
Yes. It's also the technique that he teaches to Lyndon, the Heaven and Earth Purification Wheel.
Which also has
some big fuck off Madra reserves.
That's the point. While he might have 2 cores, they aren't going to be undersized for very long. Because that's what Ethan has him focusing on, Madra capacity.
Which is just wonderful.
We should also point out that I think we missed this when we were going over the book. Part of what's helping Lyndon deal with the physical effects of the Path of Blackflame is he's got his pure core, so he doesn't need to be running Blackflame the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And B, he's got Little Blue, and Sylvan River Seeds cleanse.
That's their entire thing.
So Lil Blue is able to cleanse Lyndon's Madra channels to the point where I don't think they are fully fixed, but it slows the destruction process significantly.
Oh yeah.
It also, I think it helps Orthos at one point, doesn't it?
Yeah, it explicitly does help Orthos. Yes.
Because I think Lyndon manages to basically yeet Little Blue at Orthos at one point.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, this is where, as I said, this is the book where the series really starts to kick off. 4, 5, and 6 can be really interesting to talk about, because while Blackflame is certainly in some people's top 5s, Book 5, Ghostwater, is in pretty much everybody's top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But we will get into that.
Ghostwater's so good.
Ghostwater is very good. We'll get into that when we next talk about it. No idea when that will be. I think we should try and schedule it for fairly soon.
I don't know. I actually wonder if we should space it out a little more so that we can not have to wait excessively long for
So how many are we gonna do of these? So another 1. 2...
We should talk about this off screen.
Yeah.
No, we should do this off screen.
So we've got another 3 to come, basically. I think if we do one every 2 months, that should be okay. It depends when book. Depends when book 12 comes out, but we will try and schedule it relatively soon. We won't go like several months in between. It'll hopefully only be 2 or 3.
Like with Dresden Files.
Yeah, that one's a little bit little bit sad and how spaced out they've been. But unless we want to, you know, give up an entire month and a half worth of podcasts, we can't really do them all in one go.
No, that's fair.
So yeah, that's everything in terms of future stuff. Saturday we are going to do a Yu-Gi-Oh theme stream in honor of the Yu-Gi-Oh author. Just get his exact name. Kazuki Takahashi. May he rest in peace. So we'll definitely be doing something Yu-Gi-Oh themed, whether it's, you know, Fuzzy and I dueling each other or something else. We'll decide later on. That'll be Saturday. Sunday, hopefully we should be back to D&D. We're still in jail. We hope to be able to get out of jail without having to kill too many people or being killed ourselves. Being killed ourselves would be bad.
We'll probably have to kill a lot of people.
We'll probably have to kill some people. I'm hoping it won't be too many people, okay? Tuesday, not sure what we're doing Tuesday. I never have any real idea what we're doing on Tuesday. We'll see. And then next Thursday, either Persona 4 Golden or might we start the third Ace Attorney game? I think we've had enough of a break at this point. But
yeah,
we'll definitely come to a decision sometime in the next week and inform you by, you know, end of Tuesday stream. But
Hey, Biscuit.
Eat the pillow, Biscuit. Eat the pillow.
It's not even adjacent to a pillow at this point.
I don't care. I want Biscuit to eat a pillow. Preferably yours, because it'll be funny. Anyway, again, thank you everybody for watching. These, as we said, these are book series. This is a book series we absolutely adore and love talking about, and we'll talk about it at length when given the chance.
Incessantly.
Fuzzy, Gen, and I were talking about the most recent book for a good, I would say, 2 hours.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Hour and a half, 2 hours. So we'll do it at length when given the chance. But otherwise, again, thank you so much for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and on Twitter at storytime_net. And otherwise, we hope to see you on Saturday for some Yu-Gi-Oh antics. Good night.
Bye.
good night.
Later.